She didn't leave because she didn't care. She pulled away to see who you'd become without her. Most men chase. Most men beg. But the rare man? He pauses. He listens. He transforms without saying a word. And when she looks back, he's no longer the version she left. He's someone she can't reach anymore. This isn't about revenge. This is about rising so far above your old self that she can't even recognize you. That's the moment she regrets everything. So let me ask you, are you still trying to prove your worth to her? Or are you ready to become the man she can no longer define? Part 1. The hidden test, when her distance is measuring your worth. She didn't just pull away. She observed. She paused to see what you'd do when her energy faded, when her replies slowed, when her presence became a shadow of what it used to be. And most men, they panic. They chase. They try harder. They beg for clarity that will never come. But here's the truth. She wasn't seeking answers. She was giving a test stone she never told you about. This is what the Stoics would call an unspoken ordeal. You are not being attacked, but invited to rise or to crumble. And this moment, it's not personal. It's pattern. It's what some call hypergamy, but not in the toxic online way. Hypergamy isn't about gold digging or cheating, it's about her biological instinct to align with strength, direction, and emotional stability. And the moment she senses hesitation, her nature tests for certainty. She wants to know, is this a man I can lean into without losing myself? Or will he need me more than I can need him? Here's the irony. The more emotionally dependent you become, the more invisible you feel to her. Because in her world, value isn't shown by chasing, it's shown by anchoring. Your ability to remain centered while she pulls away doesn't just preserve your peace, it speaks to a power she can't explain. A power that doesn't flinch. The men who fail this test try to fix things. They seek validation, over-explain their intentions, replay every conversation like detectives trying to solve a crime. But the Stoic man, he steps back not out of bitterness, but clarity. He understands what Seneca meant when he said, "You act like mortals in all that you fear." And fearing her absence is the surest way to prove you haven't found your own presence yet. Passing her test doesn't mean manipulating her into coming back. It means showing her without needing to show anything that you are already full. That her silence doesn't shake your mission. That her distance doesn't erase your dignity. And that no amount of attention is worth losing your alignment. Because if you need her to validate your worth, you've already handed her the pen to rewrite your value. But if you can face her withdrawal with grounded strength, you become what very few men ever do in her eyes. Unshakable. Part 2. Heal and reclaim. Stop hurting yourself. Start choosing you. You think she hurt you, and maybe she did. Maybe she walked away when you needed her most. Maybe she ghosted you without reason. Or maybe the version of her you loved never truly existed. But here's the part most men never realize. You keep hurting yourself long after she's gone. Not because you're weak, but because no one ever taught you how to stop. You replay the last message. You zoom in on the photo she posted. You wonder who she's texting now. Your mind loops through every moment like it's looking for an off-ramp from pain. But pain doesn't end by asking why. It ends when you choose. And that choice? It's not about her. It's about you. The Stoics had a word for this. Prohairesis, the power of choice. They taught that no external event, no rejection, no betrayal can disturb your peace unless you allow it. What truly hurts is not her silence, but your refusal to stop listening for a reply. The moment you let go of needing answers, you reclaim something far more valuable than her affection, your direction. You don't heal by hoping she comes back. You heal by coming back to yourself, to the version of you that doesn't need to be picked, explained, or understood. The version that wakes up, trains hard, works harder, and finds joy in the simple act of becoming. Healing isn't passive. It's not lighting a candle and waiting for closure. It's a decision made in sweat, in solitude, in silence. So many men fall into the same trap. They use her absence as a reason to stay broken. But what if her absence is the reason you rise? You're not selfish for choosing yourself. You're not cold for not calling. You're not cruel for not watching her stories. You're reclaiming the emotional energy you once outsourced to her attention. And when you do that, something shifts. You stop waking up wondering what she feels. You start waking up wondering what you'll build today. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Your worst days weren't when she left. They were the days you refused to stop reliving it. But today, you can choose differently. You can stop waiting. You can stop bleeding for someone who doesn't even know you're still bleeding. You can begin again. Because the man who chooses himself doesn't become bitter. He becomes undeniable. Part 3. Become untouchable. Why indifference hurts her more than anger. There was a time when your anger made her feel powerful. When your frustration gave her proof that she still mattered. Every message you sent, every argument you started, every attempt to get answers, these were signals. Not of strength, but of access. That's why indifference hurts her more than any rage ever could. Because when you no longer flinch, no longer explain, no longer ask if she's okay, that's when she realizes she's no longer in the position she once held. And that's terrifying. Not because she loves you, but because she can't control you anymore. Indifference is often misunderstood. People think it means you no longer care. But to the Stoic man, indifference is not apathy. It is power. It is restraint. It's what Marcus Aurelius practiced when he reminded himself daily that everything external is fleeting, and everything internal is his alone to command. She doesn't expect you to be still. She expects noise, reaction. She expects that late-night call, the impulsive message, the emotional slip. She expects you to bleed in front of her, so she knows you're still hers, even if she doesn't want you. That's the twisted comfort chaos offers. It keeps her relevant. But when you go quiet, not cold, but calm, she's faced with something she never saw coming. Absence with dignity, a void. And in that silence, she starts hearing echoes of everything she didn't value. That's when the self-doubt creeps in. Did he really move on? Was I ever that important? You see, anger keeps her in the center of the story. Indifference removes her from it entirely. You don't become untouchable by seeking revenge. You become untouchable by no longer needing a role in her life. You become the man who doesn't orbit her anymore, because you've entered a new gravity, one pulled by your mission, not her mood. There's a power in walking past what once broke you, and not even needing to look back. And that's not heartlessness. That's maturity. That's spiritual authority. That's evolution. Because the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And the man who learns to feel everything deeply while showing nothing recklessly, he is no longer predictable. He is no longer controllable. He is no longer accessible to the same games that once trapped him. When you become that man, you don't have to say a word. She'll feel it. In your silence, in your peace, in your presence that now exists without needing hers. And that's when it hurts her the most. Part 4. Rewrite the script. You're no longer a character in her story. There comes a moment when you realize you were never the main character in her story. You were the safety net, the emotional support, the placeholder between chaos and clarity. And the more you tried to prove your worth, the more you unknowingly signed up for a role she already planned to replace. But here's what changes everything. The moment you stop reading from her script, you no longer react when she tests you. You no longer try to decode her silence. You no longer live in response to her moods. Because you're not in her story anymore. You're writing your own. A woman who didn't value you is used to being the sun and everyone else orbiting around her. She expects attention, explanation, devotion. She expects you to wait, to beg, to play the villain if needed, because that makes her feel important. But when you walk away, not in anger, not in protest, but in absolute clarity, the story collapses. And now she's left with pages that no longer make sense without you playing the fool. Here's the Stoic shift. You no longer need her to understand your side. You don't owe her closure. You don't owe her drama. You don't owe her the emotional performance she was banking on. You are not a lesson in her life. You are a man who chose to evolve. And that evolution, it hurts. Not because it's cruel, but because it breaks the loop. It tells her, for the first time, that her validation is no longer the currency you live on. You've stepped off her stage and walked into your own arena. And in that arena, you are not the reactive man chasing answers. You are the still man holding standards. When she reaches back out, and often she will, it won't be because she misses you. It will be because she misses who she was when you still revolved around her. She misses the control. She misses the emotional leash. But you've cut that tether. You've rewritten your role from the man trying to earn love to the man who knows he is love. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. You are not a reaction to her rejection. You are a reflection of your own rebirth. So now, when she tells her version of the story, you're not in it. Not because you disappeared, but because you became unrecognizable to the old version of her. You outgrew the story she was trying to keep you in. And that, my friend, is what truly breaks her. Not your anger, not your absence, but the fact that you no longer play a role in her narrative. You became the man she could no longer write into her life because you finally wrote your own. Part 5. Her regret arrives late, when your evolution becomes her mirror. There's a moment that sneaks up on her. Not when you leave, not when you stop calling, but when you stop needing. At first, your absence felt like silence, but now it echoes. She sees you differently, not because you changed who you are, but because you finally became what she never believed you could. Unreachable. This is the power of quiet growth. You didn't post about it. You didn't parade your healing. But one day, she scrolls and sees you laughing at peace. Not dating someone new to get over her, but becoming someone new to never look back. And that's when it hits her. Regret. Not because she lost you, but because she realizes you're not looking to be found anymore. Most women don't feel the full weight of a man's absence until he no longer reacts. Until the door closes with no slam. Until the chapter ends with no punctuation. Just a turning of the page she didn't expect you to write alone. Her ego once whispered, "He'll be back." Now it questions, "Was I the problem?" The truth is, your evolution is the most honest form of revenge, and it's not about revenge at all. It's about finally becoming so whole, so rooted, so purpose-driven, that even if she tried to return, she'd meet a version of you who no longer fits the story she once wrote. Because your story isn't about making her see your worth. It's about finally seeing it for yourself. Her regret? It arrives like a shadow late, quiet and powerless. Because by the time she understands what you are becoming, you've already become it. She didn't expect you to stay silent. She didn't think you'd evolve without needing her to see it. But you did. You stopped chasing closure. You stopped asking why. You stopped letting her distance define your direction. This wasn't about proving her wrong. It was about proving to yourself that you're no longer the man who waits to be chosen. Because you've already chosen yourself. That's what makes you powerful. Not your anger, not your reaction, but your stillness, your redirection, your quiet growth. Now, your challenge begins. Each day, let go of one story you've outgrown. Do one thing you've been putting off. Feel one emotion you've been avoiding. Sit with it, face it, and act anyway. Reclaim one piece of yourself that you left behind in someone else's hands. Not to get them back, but to get yourself back. You don't need to post it. You don't need her to see it. Just live it until the man you've become is unrecognizable to the boy who once begged to be loved. If this message moved something in you, like the video, subscribe for more reflections, and share this with a brother who needs to remember his power. You're not broken. You're becoming.